Folks at home, welcome to Tank Tuesday, and just in case you missed the last video, we installed an Aqua Decor 3D background and it is looking fresh. Crawfish will be the theme of this video. But first of all, let's introduce our pets, Bonnie, Sheriff, and Clyde. Oh, we just got a slight yawn out of Clyde. Sheriff is the big mean bluegill, and we are going to be doing some crawfish feedings today. We've tried it in the past, didn't have a lot of luck, but today will be all about a crawfish themed Tank Tuesday. And here's a look at our 55-gallon tank with Moby front and center as always. We also have our feeder minnow tank down here. We got a blue pet crawfish named Heisenberg. He hangs out in the minnow tank, does cleanup duty every day. So Moby, this is a crawfish themed party today, and we are seriously considering dropping one down in for you, but I don't think we have any small enough for him to eat. But I would love to see Moby's reaction to a crawfish. He's never looked at himself in the mirror. I think he thinks he can eat anything regardless of its size. Alright, we got the crawfish back to the house, and before we start purging them, I'm going to pull a few of them out and keep them to feed our bass. My goodness, look at how big these things are. Those are mini lobsters. I'm going to try to find some in here that are small enough. We've tried feeding them in the past, and the crawfish were just too big and they didn't eat it. That's when the bass were a lot smaller. And I'm hoping we can find some of these small enough to feed Bonnie and Clyde, and maybe even Moby. Alright, I tried to pick out the smallest ones. There weren't very many. These are as small as they get, and I got one special guest surprise, the big boy. Let's see what the bass think about him. Alright, I was going to wait until tonight when the lights are on to drop the crawfish in, but I think we'll go ahead and drop one in right now during daylight and just see if it makes it until tonight. Alright, the bass are really laid back. They're not used to eating during the daytime, so they may not eat at all. We got Clyde over here, Bonnie laying on the bottom. Bonnie's coming out. Let's check it out. She's not showing much interest, but Sheriff definitely is. Let's drop it right here in the center. Oh, he bumped it. Clyde's coming over. And he did not eat it. He definitely shot over there with some interest. But there it is, sitting down on the bottom. That's thinking about it. You can probably smell the crawfish in the water. Bonnie's out now. Look at Bonnie. She's coming up on it. She's thinking about eating it. And they passed. They're a little bit shy during the daytime because they're not used to eating there. And you can't really see a whole lot, so that's why we're going to wait until tonight when the lights are on. Alright, so in case you missed Sunday's video, we had a crawfish bull, and we pulled these crawfish. They were the smallest ones, except for this big guy. That's one of the biggest crawfish I've ever seen. Look at him compared to that other one. He's a giant. It looks like he could eat that small crawfish. We'll talk more about the big one later, but we're trying to get some of these smaller ones to feed to our pet bass. So now it is time. We're about to drop some of these crawfish in the tank and see if Bonnie or Clyde wants to eat a crawfish. So we dropped one crawfish in earlier today when the lights were off, and I've seen him here recently, so I'm pretty sure that they didn't eat him. But now that the lights are on and it's feeding time, we're going to drop it in, make it an easy meal for them, and see if we can get them to come up and hit them at the surface. Alright, here we go. We got another small little guy right here. We got several fish that are ready to eat. Let's see what they think about him. Clyde, you got the perfect opportunity. I'm starting to wonder if our bass are normal. I've seen a lot of other subscribers send us clips in where they eat crawfish. I've had bass in the past that would, I mean, that was one of their favorite things to eat was crawfish. Oh, we got Bonnie coming over to check them out. I just don't know why we can't get these bass to eat the crawfish. It's not like they're giant, it's not like they have huge pinchers, but they just do not seem to be interested. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop several of them in. I'm going to drop about 5 of them in, go ahead and put them in there, give them plenty of opportunity to eat them, and I'm going to kick back and watch, and if they don't eat them, then we're going to release them. Alright, we're about to drop 2 more in. Perfect eating size. Let's see what happens. Get them. That is unbelievable. It's like they come up and look at them and they do not eat them. So I'm going to sit back right now. They've got plenty of options in there. There's 2 of them right there. And we're going to watch and see if the bass even consider eating them. Close call. Thought Bonnie was ready to eat one. Alright, so since the crawfish feeding was a pretty big failure, I've got one idea. We're gonna do a bass versus crawfish challenge right here. So unfortunately, I don't have any crawfish that Moby could eat. They're all about his size. They literally are about the same size as him. So I'm gonna get a crawfish that has big enough pinchers, and I'm gonna drop him in there, and I know Moby's gonna try to eat him because he has no idea that he's not big enough to eat him. And we're gonna see how a crawfish will defend himself against a small bass. Alright, here's options we have left. We're definitely not putting this big guy in there. He would probably kill Moby, but we're looking for one of these guys that has big enough pinchers. That one looks like he's got a sharp set. That one looks pretty... Oh yeah, this one looks mad right here. He's got him up in the air. Yep, that's a fighter right there. He is going to get a fighting chance against Moby. Folks at home, get your popcorn ready. Standing in the middle corner, we've got Moby the monster, weighing in at 7 ounces soaking wet. Standing in our left corner, we've got Martin the mud bug with 2 fresh pinchers, feisty as can be. Moby said, let me get him. Yep, Moby's definitely ready. Alright, let the games begin. Oh, Moby's backing down. He gave him a good quick hit. Got him again. Moby is mad. Look at him. He said, oh, he said, I'm just getting started. But I knew he would try to eat him. I cannot believe our almost 2-pound bass Bonnie will not try to eat a crawfish. But Moby will attempt to eat a crawfish his same size. Alright, he is back out in the open. Round 2. The mud bug is back out and open. Moby doesn't seem to want any part of him. Wait, wait. This little guy will not back down. He gets mad with him. That is incredible. This bass is a future 10-pounder. I've said it in the past, I'll say it again. He is the most vicious bass you'll ever see. He will try to eat anything you could give him. I'm not going to torture this crawfish. I wanted to clean and fair fight, so we're going to release him now. I'm going to get him out of there. Sorry, Moby. Fight's over. You won. Alright, I just got Marty the mud bug out, and he's still alive and happy. He's still a bit feisty. Moby would like a round 3 with him, but we're going to go release this guy. Uh-oh, we got a standoff. Sheriff and a crawfish. Look at him. The sheriff is nearly vertical, thinking about this crawfish. What are you doing, Sheriff? I've never seen a bluegill go completely vertical. This is going to be one of the strangest things I've ever seen. Putting crawfish in this tank. Look at that. He is doing a handstand and spinning at the same time. If it wasn't for a crawfish sitting down there, I'd be really worried about my fish today. Alright, a lot of you may be wondering where our old pet Larry the lobster is. Well, last week was his 1-year anniversary. We kept him out of a crawfish bowl last year, and we kept him for a full year. And we decided he had lived long enough in this tank, and it was time to release him. So now we're going to keep the biggest crawfish out of this crawfish bowl, but we have to make a little home for him. That way people like Sheriff won't be pestering him all the time. So we're going to take one of these rocks out of here, and we're going to cut a big hole in it, because these rocks are hollow. These are 3D Aqua Decor rocks, and we're going to make a little home for him. Just for instance, that crawfish right there, he'd be able to back up in a hole and protect himself. We're going to release all the 4 crawfish that are in there now. Alright, we got the big rock out. I've got my small hacksaw, and I think I'm going to cut a pretty good sized hole out right here. And there we go, just like that, the crawfish has a door to his new casa. Alright, I think we're going to put the crawfish door opening towards the back, so the rock's going to sit like that. He'll have a little bit of privacy. We may end up changing that in the future. We may also end up cutting some holes here in the top. That way we can feed him really easily. His pincher is literally the size of a normal crawfish. Let's show him to Moby first. Moby, you don't want none of this guy. He would cut you in half, buddy. Look at those claws. His wingspan is twice the size of you. Moby's still sizing him up. Alright, for some reason all the bass and bluegill are huddled up over there on the right side. So now's the perfect time. Let's go ahead and drop him in over here by his new rock. Look at the size of that guy. Jeez. Larry the lobster was big, but he was not that big. Uh-oh. We got a bass coming. Like we always do, leave us a comment down below on what we should name our new pet crawfish. Larry the lobster's already taken, so we got to come up with something new. If you say the name that we end up choosing, we're going to send you out a prize package. Alright, and our first subscriber clip comes from Cam. He says, "Hey BamaBass, I love your videos. Here's a clip of my bass lip munching his first ever crawfish before I move him to my backyard pond." You see, Cam, I don't understand why Bonnie and Clyde don't eat crawfish. The next clip comes from Jonathan. He says, "This is my red ear slider named Milo, and he's 8 months old and he's already bonded with me enough to hand feed." That is pretty cool. I've never seen a hand feeding on turtles. And the next clip comes from Connor. He says, "Hey, my name is Connor. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and this is my pet bass, Toby. I love Tank Tuesday. Please keep the videos coming." Toby looks a lot like Moby. So folks, that's going to wrap up this Tank Tuesday. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed. That way you can follow along with us every Tuesday when we release videos of this crazy tank and all these crazy fish, and in this case, crawfish. Thanks for watching. See you all next week.
Bonnie and Clyde were pretty looking people, but I can tell you people, they were the devil's children. Bonnie and Clyde began their evil doing one lazy afternoon down Savannah.